So you don't need me to tell you that there are many problems with NBA Live, and going into next gen, us not having any information on the upcoming game or even any communication from the dev team, i.e. not releasing the last 2 years, which hurts brand awareness, or the lack of communication that the portion of the community that is left, we haven't gotten on Reddit, on Twitter, or any of the forums, or even in the game itself of NBA Live 19 to know that, are we gonna get a new title, or are they even working on anything? The only information we got so far that could potentially not even be related to NBA Live is that Scott O'Gallagher is now the creative director on a project at EA Sports, along with him bringing a senior developer that used to be at 2K in Rob Jones. Now with that, guys, that doesn't tell you much, because they could be working on a fight night, they could be working on a section of Madden that could be coming up, and I know I'm reaching here, but I'm just trying to bring your expectations down, because we still don't know anything as far as EA Sports letting us know if there is a new title coming out for the future. And of course, the many gameplay issues that were present in NBA Live 19, but it had insane potential. And when it comes to today's video, I want to talk about some feedback options that we should give to the devs, or if I had the power for one day, what I would do as far as changing a few features within NBA Live Next Gen going into it. Because the one thing I can say is that there are many issues within the game. I don't need you guys to tell me that, we all know together collectively. But with that, I think it's something that we should talk about, because I frankly don't see a lot of people speaking on it, because it's kind of like a broken record at this point with us not knowing if they're going to give us a new game. Now, the first thing I want to touch on when it comes to this topic is microtransactions. And of course, business has to still be business. And I know that doesn't mean a lot to gamers, because we want to have the best gameplay and we want it all to cost $0. And with that, guys, that's just not going to happen, especially with a sports title that releases yearly or has to give us consistent updates across a slew of game modes, i.e. play now, an ultimate team mode, a franchise mode, or even just within rosters and likeness itself. I just don't see a free-to-play model coming to the sports genre anytime soon, but that's just my opinion. But as far as microtransactions, especially when it comes to other games and other markets that are doing well with this feature, and honestly the community is accepting of it. Now first things first, we want to avoid the pay to upgrade model. I think with 2K's VC model, it has already pissed a lot of people off. A lot of people are not happy with it, but also it is a way to make it convenient for the player, right? A lot of us can just upgrade our player to 85 real quick with a quick $60 or $70 VC purchase, and it doesn't hurt us too much, along with unlocking all of our animations. So off rip, our player actually feels like an NBA player. One thing about NBA Live 19 that I believe hurt it was that right when you got a chance to play with your player in the NBA, a lot of people didn't have any animations unlocked. So if you didn't play the demo, you didn't have any animations. 2, you also didn't have a jump shot of your choice, because you have to go through your icon path most of the time to unlock those. Then there was no animation packs in the stores that we can unlock. So unlike 2K giving us an option to access all of those things if you reached a certain rating, you know what I mean? Live didn't give us any of that. So pretty much you had to grind in the game in order to make your player feel like an NBA player. And that turned a bunch of people off. I noticed a lot of people will come over to me and say NBA Live feels stiff in a lot of situations, or the dribbling is bad, which I'm not gonna front, it is in its moments, but for somebody like me who actually got most of the dribble moves within the game, but with that though, the game feels fluid to me in those moments, because I'm running around with LeBron James level 2 dribble animations, or James Harden level 2 dribble animations, or Kyrie or Kemba, where a 70 overall player doesn't have access to any of that. So with that, guys, avoiding the pay to upgrade model, I believe that we should have booster packs in NBA Live Next Gen. Now, as far as explaining what the booster packs will be, it would be like an XP booster pack. So if you played Assassin's Creed Odyssey or Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I'll have some images that way you can look at these. They basically had a permanent booster pack that if you paid for it, you would get either ×2 or ×3 progression on your player in the single player portion of the game. So meaning you still have to play the game, and experience it and get to know it and get better at it, but also at the same time you're getting more progression, more kickback from the game. And I think that's something that NBA Live Next Gen could take from other games in that market, because having a pay to upgrade model, that's what creates this wall, essentially this paywall, that people feel like if I don't pay to get VC, or if I don't pay to get a certain currency within a game, then I cannot compete on multiplayer by any means. But if you have a booster pack that affects single player mode, everybody pretty much starts at a base level, right? So say that's 75 overall or 70 overall. Only the people grinding will actually get that benefit or that boost, which you will obviously be able to tell through their level progression, their rank progression, and also their overall progression. So with that, it doesn't technically create a separation, but it also incentivizes a player to want to play the game more, especially when they can get a 2 times or 3 times boost in their progression. That's one thing I believe that NBA Live should add to their game. Now, this is a series we're going to continue to do throughout the year until we know something about NBA Live Next Gen coming out. So with that, guys, if you would subscribe to the channel and turn on those notifications, that way you are notified of these videos, hey, I would truly appreciate it. But moving on to point number 2, gameplay. Now, we're not going to touch on everything here because I know you guys will fire up comments just telling me how many problems there is in NBA Live. I get it. When it comes to the off-ball movement in NBA Live, 2K doesn't hold a candle to it. And I know a lot of people will disagree with that, but as far as moving with the right stick off the ball, try it the next time you play NBA Live. You can have push-off animations, you also have pull animations, you also have cut out to the left or the right or backpedal. It makes your player feel more unique off the ball, and you can actually dex, as we would say, a lot better than you would on 2K, where it's just a lot of robotic movements where your guy is just kind of facing left, then he just flips right. Like, that's not organic. Where in NBA Live, it's more the person is planting his foot, cutting left, he's shuffling, he's backpedaling. It makes it look so much more organic. So that's something they can expand upon and tighten up, because there are a lot of moments in the game that the speed of those animations would either speed up ridiculously in Live 19, or it would just slow down and look terrible. And those things need to be cleaned up. Obviously, going into next gen, they're probably gonna already have that stuff tightened up, but just to mention it in this video, I think it's a point to prove that it's something that they should continue to work on and add, and not take it away going into next gen, because those 2-man animations made playing off the ball a game versus standing in a corner and then waiting to get the rock and just watching the ball handler. The next thing are cutoffs. Now, I know I'm more of a defensive player here, but as far as the defensive cutoffs in Live, I think that's something that makes it stand out from 2K, is that it's rewarding on both sides of the ball, where if you beat your man to a spot, the ball handler actually suffers a little bit. Rather, they slow down their dribble move. Maybe if they're not an elite dribbler, they also have to pick up the ball, they adjust. And it's just like real life. If you get smothered by a defender, you should know to either retreat back with the handle, you need to move the rock, or you need to find a way to step back and create space. And I think that's something that's not respected in 2K, is that when it comes to defense and the 2-man animations, a lot of times is that if you smother a ball handler, they'll just hit like a quick explosive behind the back or a curry slide, and they're instantly free. But even if you're face to face, body to body, there is no animation slowing down that ball handler. If somebody came into contact on my right shoulder, but the ball is in my left, I either have to step away and create space, or I have to either go behind the back and step back from that defender, or find a way to create more space. You aren't just gonna explode out of it and then just find the space necessary to get to the rim or even get to that 3-point shot. So that's something that Live had in place. It just needs to be cleaned up and more animations added to it. And that goes into their animation library. It seems like in 19 they were working on it. If they have more dribble escapes for elite ball handlers, contact animations when defenders close the space on ball handlers and off-ball players, that needs to be addressed greatly. But I think it'll just add even more immersion to the game to make it feel more like an NBA product. And with that, I think it'll just be a good look for NBA Live having those types of animations and building on what they already started with NBA Live 19 and 18. Now, something that NBA Live 19 did improve from 18 is player likeness, but it wasn't enough in itself to bring people over because NBA 2K19 looked great in itself as well. But one thing about player likeness is that we need to have more prominent body models. And I actually went out to EA Play in 2018, right before Live 19 came out, and I said this to several of the devs, mentioning how some of the players' shoulders, their traps, their shoulder blades did not look as prominent or as strong as they should. And we need more prominent shoulder muscles. Make it rounder with the deltoids, the traps, the pectorals, and the shoulder blades and collarbone area. And I think in the game, this is like the one area Live is just missing out on. If they just tighten up that area a little bit and clean it up, you'll see Russell Westbrook look like Westbrook a little bit more. And that's gonna be a big separator in them between 2K and Live going into next gen. Now, that's just a few things I wanted to talk about in today's video. We're gonna make this a weekly series by any means. I want you to leave some feedback of topics that you want to hear on the channel, as far as feedback for NBA Live Next Gen or even 2K, man, because with that, man, we just want to make these games better than what they are right now, and maybe point out the things that the developers aren't seeing themselves when they look at their game. I know sometimes they have a vision for what they want the game to look like, but I felt like with Live 19, they just missed the mark with player likeness a little bit, and they touched on areas that I know they probably would have improved on in 20 outside of features and a lot of modes that are very basic and bare bones. But like I said, this is going to be a weekly series, so we're going to be talking about franchise, we're going to be talking about extra game modes, monetization, and things to make NBA Live really stand out going into next gen. So with that, if you would subscribe to the channel, turn on those notifications, and if you made it to this point in the video, people, make sure to leave two-way, man, because I'm excited to bring you guys more content. Hey man, we just want good basketball. That's it. That's all I want. I'll holla at y'all, man.
Can't believe it till they see it, that's a sad truth. Hey, I be out of town all the time, on the blood rush.